Hello everyone, my name is Gabby, and I bet you're not surprised to see me here again. I mean, I'm not surprised to see me here again, because Precure came out with a cool toy again. So the usual preamble, because not everyone actually expects to see stuff like this on the channel. Precure is a magical girl franchise produced by Toei Animation. It is primarily aimed at young girls, like sort of around kindergarten age. That being said, the franchise is over 20 years old now, and I think it has actually gotten to the stage where in the most recent season this year, Star Detective Precure, there's a lot of elements that feel like they are almost essentially trying to pander to a slightly older audience, or at least trying to make things more appealing for parents. There's a lot of stuff about it that feels almost nostalgic. Some of it literally because it takes place in the year 1999, but there's also a lot of elements that feel a bit nostalgic in terms of feeling like, I guess you could say, more older, classical magical girl sorts of stuff. One of those things is the inclusion of basically a dark magical girl. So in this show, there is a pretty cure who works for the villains, but she kind of has her own sort of agenda, and there's a lot of mystery around her, and they haven't really exactly explained her entire deal yet. But she's basically working as a phantom thief, and she sort of clashes with the heroes who are like detectives. So it's a really interesting dynamic, and it's something that Pretty Cure doesn't normally do. They normally just have very simple heroes, villains. So it's a very interesting thing. So this is Cure Arcana Shadow. And from what I've seen, basically from the moment that the series was announced and her design was announced, she's become an incredibly popular character. To the point that even people who don't even know anything about Pretty Cure or aren't even that interested in Pretty Cure saw this character and said, wow, she looks really cool. Where is she from? And decided to give this season a shot. And so when the toy version of the big purple staff that she carries around with her was announced, I basically went and I said I had to pre-order it immediately. Kind of for two reasons. One is because it's kind of a really unique design and it's a really interesting kind of toy and not something that Pretty Cure always does. And the second reason is because, from what I could tell, the character was so popular, I was scared that if I didn't get in that order like straight away, that everything would get sold out incredibly quickly and I would basically never get a chance to buy it even if I wanted to. So, this is the Tier Arcana Rod. This is Cure Arcana Shadows, like both transformation item and her weapon. It's the thing that she's basically carries around with her all the time. She uses it to transform, she uses it to use her special attack. It's basically like part of her character design, really. And of course, yeah, this is the toy version. It's very fun. It's very fun holding this box because the whole thing is just so large, because this is basically the biggest Pretty Cure toy that I've ever bought, personally. That being said, it's actually not as big as you would expect it. I mean, I'll get into it later, but like, if I show you the back, for example, like basically the stuff itself, like in the show, is basically like a full length thing, but this one's more like a kind of a one's length. But it is a very but basically, yeah, the moment I saw this thing, I'm like, I have to buy it. The moment I saw the character design, I was like, when they announced the toy version of this thing, because the stuff is so specific, it has to have a toy version. I'm gonna buy it, and so I've bought it. Here it is. Let's have a look at it. That's the front. It's very nice, and like, it's very nice sort of purple color, showing the thing from all angles, showing a nice picture of the character with the item. The back, it's like oh, here's all the things that you can do with it, etc., etc. Side, you've got saying that, look, it has functionality with all of the Makoto jewels, which are the little trinkets of this season's toy line. The back is like oh, hey, you can buy some other things related to it, like the little keychain, the little miniature version of it, which I did also buy, and the Mushtan, her little fairy talking plushie. The side is like this nice thing of just I don't know, and then this side is just information, etc., etc. Yeah, it's cool. Let's have a look and let's open this thing up. By the way, if you're wondering why my bookshelf is completely empty now and it's normally stuff there and Vic is there, we're doing a bit of a pest control thing in the house at the moment, so we just moved everything. Anyway, not important. Let's open the box thing up. All right. Yep. Take the thing open, take out the scissors, and just Yep. There we go. And that's it. It's a lot easier. Packaging's a lot simpler nowadays. And here it is. It is the Tier Arcana Rod. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, like I said, one of the kind of major things is if you look at this thing, I mean, it looks longer than a traditional magical girl wand, but it is definitely not something that is like goes up to like your shoulders. It is very clearly much smaller than the actual version in the show, and in a way, that's sort of a compromise you kind of expected to happen. So yeah, this is the sort of the front. You have this sort of playing card thing. I'll show you the little gimmick later. It's got a little recognition thing where you can put the Makoto jewels on. You've got nice little. It's kind of like a sort of a see-through sort of dark purple shiny sort of plastic. You've got the little ribbon thing. That's just kind of straight. You've got some little colors there. Over there's the speaker. On the back, not much, just the rest of it. The card is double-sided. There's a little thing here for releasing the Makoto jewels, and yeah, that's the batteries. That's basically it. So the gimmick of this thing is that the card, you can spin it, and you just go like this. That actually does feel nice. See, I'm pretty sure. The fun thing is like when you watch the opening, there's like one bit where it actually shows her like actually doing the thing and spinning it, and you're supposed to like spin it from here, I think, as opposed to spinning the card, because you can do it from the card as well, but I think yeah, it feels better doing it from this way. That's why it's kind of like it's double sided, and you've got it's really like sparkly as well. It's got this kind of like the holographic sparkly effect on the playing card as well. It's very cool, and it's quite like this kind of looks like her little headdress. It's just very cool. It's very interesting as well because it is a very manual gimmick. It's not like, you press a button and it electronically spins. You have to physically spin this thing yourself. And it does register it's spinning. So, like, it's not completely, there's no sort of electronics involved in it at all. But I thought it's kind of similar to the dual kill watch as well, where like you have to like personally move these things yourself. And I don't know if that's actually like a trend of the recent Pretty Cure toys or if it's just me overthinking things. Also, a little interesting thing I saw as I was looking through it is on the sides here. Oh, you can kind of see that it's got like it's a little bit of plastic here, and I know what these things are. Ever since I built a gunpla once, in fact, you can actually sort of it's up there. Ever since I built a gunpla. I realized what these things are. These like the plastic runners, and like this is when they cut the plastic pieces in, and it's got the little bits left over. And I'm pretty sure that's something that they don't always have visible. They try to like smooth the edges down, and I'm going to get to this later, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of the thing is that like, well, I like Pretty Cure stuff. I actually do think that some of the Pretty Cure toys have the overall quality of them has gone down, like of the just sort of the production of them and the stuff that they do in them. That is something I am actually a little bit disappointed in. That being said, like I said, this thing looks cool and it feels cool and it's for a cool character who's very popular, so I had to buy it anyway. So am I not voting with my wallet? Should I do that? But I don't know. It's a really complicated thing, right? Because if you don't do it, you're gonna get FOMO as well, right? You see other people doing it, you see other people having fun, you're like, well, I want it. This is terrible for people with neurodivergence. I also forgot that it comes with the Cure Arcana Shadow version of the Makoto Jewel. And I was very interested in this just because, her theme color is black, but they kind of was also like, dark purple as well. This thing is really just purple. It's not black because, they don't want to do like pure black. And I thought because there is also a Pretty Cure whose theme color is purple, which is Cure Answer, who's like the protagonist, I kind of wondered like how they're going to make it look different. So I actually took out the Cure Answer Makoto Jewel, and when you compare them side by side, no, they do look very similar. It's basically like the only difference is just that the Arcana Shadow one is like a slightly darker shade of purple, but they're both purple. That being said, there is one thing that they did, and I think maybe they did it because of this reason, is that on the back of them, the back of most Makoto jewels are like they are this sort of see-through transparent sort of thing, but the back of this one is that sort of same sort of purple color. So I think maybe that's the way they're kind of saying like this is how you differentiate the two if you're just not sure which one you're holding because they're both purple and they have the same shape. Just see if the back is purple. If the back is purple, it's Cure Arcana Shadow. If the back is see-through, it's Cure Answers. At least I think that's how they did it. But I honestly do wish it was more of a black than this sort of dark purple. But I don't know. They're like, oh, you can't make a black girls don't like, but I don't know. I am not a toy executive, you know. I'm not making billions of dollars or billions of yen really. So who am I to say? Anyway, I'll be back. I'm gonna have to go and try to open up the batteries and the screwdriver and get the screwdriver and open this case up and put the batteries in and see all the sounds. All right, I managed to get the batteries in with some help. Note to future me: don't try to use the Phillips head screwdrivers to open these. It actually doesn't work. You need a straight screwdriver. Like, even though it's got like the cross-shaped type screws, uh, doing a straight one through the middle is a lot easier than trying to get like the four pronged ones. Anyway, yep. Let's do it. Let's turn it on. See what happens. 3, 2, 1. Yep, that's it. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. See, the interesting thing is the fact that there is no lights does make the recognition feel very different. The fact that it is just sound. Like I'm talking about this later, but yeah, there's a lot of interesting things about this, and one of them is that there are no lights on this, no LEDs, no nothing. So the only recognition you get is from the sound, and the sound comes from there. So yeah, basically to start the transformation, we take the specific Pure Arcana Shadow one, and we just put it in, right? Yeah, we do it like this. Like I'm putting the wrong place. That's what. So yeah, that's the transformation. And so the other thing you can do then is if you do once the things are set, if you do the thing again. Okay, I'm gonna stop. That's cringe. I'm pretty sure that's all. Like, if you just do that again, it's just. Yeah, so it's basically just that. The other thing is, like, you think that this is a button. It's not a button. I'll get to that. That's kind of all you can really do with that, and so you can just take that out. There's the little release thing there. It says to set the Makoto jewel, but that being said, if you just don't do anything, you just spin this. So you just get a whole bunch of voice lines. There's a whole bunch of voice lines in this. While I'm here, I might as well also just show what happens when you put all the other Makoto jewels in. Which, hang on, 1, 2. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 other ones, so let's try that. So first we've got Cure Answers, which is not Cure. It's not Cure Arcana Shadows because it's got the clear at the back. See, I know enough of Japanese to know what that means. Okay, it's just the same thing. Like, oh, what's that? A new Pretty Cure. I think it's going to get interesting. Like, I know, I don't know the words of Japanese, but I know enough of those phrases. Seeing them, the stock phrases, that I know what that means. Let's try Cure Mystiques. Mystiques, the pink one. So yeah, I think like saying like those kids are interesting or something like that. And then the opening and the ending ones, which are just like random things. So I think. Yeah, I think that one was like, oh, I won't tell, I won't let you know my secret. Oh, I was around the wrong way. That one I'm not. I don't exactly know. I can look these up. Don't worry, guys. You don't need to like help me find out what they mean. She's saying like chord. I think that's kind of like a. Oh yeah, yeah. Because this is the Cure Idol one, so it's like, oh, you know what's this outfit? It's cute. It's very cute. Anyway, so it's also got Mashatan, the fairies video as well. Like, you know. I'll show you the power of the Tier Arcana rod. Cute. Don't know about. I mean, I can look these up afterwards. Don't worry. That's it, huh? That's it. Anyway, so there's a few others like that, but they're just kind of generic lines like that. Also, by the way, if you're interested in what happens if you put the Cure Arcana Shadow Makoto Jewel into the Jewel Cure Watch, which I bought earlier, you can see the previous video if you ever want to. So you just put it in. There you go. That one I've seen. I've seen that one, and it is so that translation is like my name is Cure Arcana Shadow. There's something I need to do. As to what that is, I actually don't know. The show actually doesn't actually tell us yet. I mean, she's only really properly actually been introduced as Cure Arcana Shadow in the most recent episode. So, you know, there's a lot of mysteries in this season. There's a lot of stuff that's not very clearly stated. And they may sound like very low expectations, but I mean, like I said, this show is the primary audience is young children. So the fact that there is anything that they don't tell you the answer straight away, it's nice. And in fact, if anything, it's something that you wouldn't want to do because children have famously low attention spans. They don't like having to wait for things. They want to get their instant gratification, right? So you know, they're very yeah. I think they're doing a lot of ambitious stuff this season. It's not. I mean, we're only like 11 episodes in, and it's not like the most incredible season that's just doing everything amazingly. But like I said, a lot of ambition, a lot of really interesting ideas, a lot of mystery, a lot of stuff where honestly, I've actually got no idea what's going to happen. And that's fun. It's fun to watch a show and not know what's going to happen. Even when you have the toys and the toy leaks, and people have you know brute forced every combination of Makoto jewels in this, and there is no information on spoilers. Really, not really. There's a little bit like some implied stuff, but nothing that specifically tells us what's going to happen to her in the future. So anyway, now that we've kind of sort of shown basically everything that the Tier Arcana Rod can do, besides some other voice lines that if I just keep spitting this thing, I would hear them all, but like I can look it up if I really want to. Let me just tell you about the thing about my gripe, my discussion about these toys, and that is that the last few years especially, and especially also this year, it does really feel like they have been lowering the quality, lowering the production value of some of these toys, essentially trying to be cheaper with producing them. There are ways that they've been cutting corners, and it's gotten to the point that it is quite noticeable. And it's also quite noticeable, especially with this Tirakana rod, especially because there are just a lot of things that are often in Precure toys that are missing from this. So the first thing is, like I said, there's no lights, no LEDs anywhere. Even the dual Cure watch, it has an LED, but to be fair, it's also this like one thing at the top. It's not even like the whole area lights up. It's like it feels like combined with that and this having nothing. Which even though like imagine if say here there's like some kind of backlight up, right? Imagine if that like lit up in different colors, but it doesn't. It's very pretty, but it doesn't light up. Or maybe like this thing would light up in different colors, and it doesn't. And so it definitely feels like the reason why they did that is to save on costs, to make it so these things are cheaper to produce. And I don't know if that is a case where it's like because just generally toys and producing everything is more expensive because everything's become more expensive over the past few years, especially since the pandemic and yada yada, or if it is just they want to cut costs, they want to make these things as cheap as possible so they can get the most profit. I don't know because I don't know the actual costs of producing these things, but it is something that's very noticeable, and it is something that is honestly quite disappointing. Another place where they cut corners is the painting. So one thing you notice is that so you have this beautiful little gold paint here. You've got this beautiful pink little ribbon thing. If you turn to the back, there's no paint. The if you actually even better, if you turn to the side, the front half is painted, and then the other half it's just the plastic. There's no paint. So once again, it does feel like it is. It's basically they're basically just doing that to make it so they don't have to paint as much, so they can keep the costs down. It's a little bit jarring when you look at it and you think, oh, you assume that the paint's going to go around the whole way, and it doesn't. I think it's the case with some other toys as well, like the figures. Like there's some figures that they release, like the cheaper ones, where they used to have it, everything was painted, but now sometimes they do with the details on the back of the costumes aren't painted, and it's just the plastic, and they don't put any extra paint on. So, like I said, it seems like it's a thing just with Bandai in general over the past few years. And the other big omission is the lack of game mode. They've removed game mode. So oftentimes when you would these toys used to have like an A mode and a B mode, and like A mode was sort of like the role play mode where you could do the things it does in the show. B mode would be like game mode where it would have like little like mini games. So you'd have like, oh, the thing will light up and press the button when the light is this color, or like, oh, press the button a certain number of times and we'll like tell you a random fortune, what your fortune of the day is, and some stuff like that. And the fact that they have removed the game mode is probably almost perhaps that's the reason why they have no lights and they also have no button, because you would need the button to confirm like what game to play, and they would use that in the games as well. But because there's nothing like that, you don't need an actual pressable button, and you don't need an actual light to have any sort of recognition for that. I don't know sort of which came first and what's the reason behind it. As a grown adult who is not a child, I don't, game mode was never really something that I particularly loved in the first place. Obviously, it's not something I'm going to use because the games were very much games that would amuse only small children and nothing else. That being said, the fact is that means that the toy has less features. There are less things that it can do, and if it's being sold for essentially the same price, it does definitely feel like you're losing out on value because they used to do more things. Now they only do the one thing or the two things, even if like there might be more voice lines overall. Putting all this stuff together, it makes me wonder if it's like the situation was that almost like they want to change the almost like the market for the role play toys, that it's like this is now it's less of just like a children's toy and it's more like a collectible item. It is more like for the adult market, the sculptor market, the collector's market. I don't know. Like maybe that is the case, and because if that's the case, it would explain why they're removing stuff like game mode and stuff like buttons that you don't necessarily need. But I don't know. That's just a theory, right? Like I don't know if that's actually that or if it is just genuinely they just want to make it cheaper to produce because things cost more. Like they say that these things being made in Thailand now, it's not made in China or in like Hong Kong or whatever. Maybe it is just that they're chasing the cheapest trends and they just don't do that stuff anymore. Who knows? It kind of relates to the fact that there was also some other things I bought in this one order. I got these, which were basically these are essentially they are miniature versions of the transformation items. The idea is that I've got some good pictures. The idea is that essentially the characters wear these things like around their necks, these little necklaces, and then they say open, and then it like turns into like the full size thing. It's a very clever thing, very like classical kind of magical girl kind of cutesy thing, very card captor Sakura-esque. You've got this like small thing and then it turns into like the full-size staff or the full-size transformation item. So it makes me think like theories like, oh, maybe they made these like the full-size ones are like less fancy because like these are like more collector's items, and then if a kid just really wants to have like a role play version, they can get the little like miniature necklaces or something like that instead. Like maybe that's it. There's also like how some some transformation items, like the transformations items for Cure Nyami and Cure Lillian, they were essentially just makeup. They were makeup accessories, and so they didn't have any lights on sound at all. They were just makeup. It's just something I think about when I see some of these new toys that are coming out, and I see some things where it's like they used to do this and now they don't. So what's the reason for that? Basically, I just like that they are diversifying more with the types of characters that they use in the main Precure series, and so I just wanted to go and support that and make sure that I could actually buy it and it wouldn't all be sold out. So yeah, that's me trying to justify all of my purchases, but really I just buy these things because it makes me happy, and that's all I really need. Speaking of things that I bought because they made me happy, the last piece of Pretty Cure merchandise in this order was this one. It is the Petit Cure, Petit Cure. It's pronounced like Petit Cure in Japanese for some reason. Anyway, it's another Daifuku. I love this little bunny. He's great, and I have the full size Petit Cure plush toy that's around over there. You can see the Komiki one there. I also have the Miyuki and the Daifuku. I have the shoulder Daifuku. And I have the human transformed version Daifuku beanbag because this bunny is great and he's just a fun character. And so I wanted to buy all the merchandise of him that I could, and I like that they put him into the Sanrioification franchise cutesy version of Pretty Cure because he didn't need to, because he's not a major character or anything. Really, he doesn't. He's basically just there to look cute, but he's also a bro. I love Daifuku, so yeah, I had to get it. So this thing's actually been out for a while, but I actually couldn't buy it. It was just always out of stock, and then I just suddenly saw they had versions of it in stock now. They had all of the other Petit Cure like keychains. You could get them pretty easily, but not the Daifuku. That one was difficult because everyone loves Daifuku because he's cute, and not only is he cute, he is also a cool older brother character. And he's voiced by Yuichi Nakamura. He's the best character. I also love the fact that they all have little ribbons, and they were like ribbons with two colors, and for him they gave him blue and yellow. Blue because that's the color of the little like collar tie thing that he has, and then yellow because yellow is the color they gave him once they decided that he would have a human form and he would like have a Chava transform version as well, and it's like yellow was different, similar to like Satoru's orange. And anyway, I just love that the Zaifuku merch because, like I said, it's not because he's cute; it's because he's just the best character, and he's also cute. These are what the miniatures look like outside of the box, by the way. The chain is too small to just go over my head because it's probably made more for children. But it's very. I think it's very cool. The dual kill watch one, it doesn't really look like the transformation item, at least not now. But you open it up and there, it's like, oh, cool. That's the you can see the similarity, right? It's very. I think it's very neat. So I think it's a very clever way to do it. Reminds me of Hiragata Sky did something similar where it was like a pen, and then the pen like expanded and opened up, and it had like the little pen light thing inside. Basically, I bought a bunch of Precure stuff again, and as to whether I'm going to keep buying stuff, who knows? The next wave of toys probably isn't going to be around till June, July, probably around about Cura Claire. The thing about Cura Claire right now is that we know nothing about her. We know four characters who may be her because they all look very much like her. They all kind of look equally a lot like her, to the point that they can't all be her. So either there are some kind of red herrings, a lot of red herrings going on specifically to try and get people, or there's some kind of I honestly don't know. Like some of the stuff with the toy audio makes it seem like the Cure Arcana Shadow knows Cure Claire somehow. Like really, at this point, I'm less wondering who is Cure Claire, more like what is Cure Claire? Why is she being kept a secret? Why is she there? Like at this point, there's enough people, enough like just discussion about it and hinting towards it. And I'm wondering if this is much more simple than just the we wanted to put her in the toys early, so we introduced her early on, and even though she's not in the show yet. I genuinely don't know. But at the very least, she doesn't seem like she's a crazy character, so maybe I won't buy her toys, but like, we'll see. We'll have to see, really. I'll have to wait and see what the toys actually are, because they seem like they're just like very similar versions to what like Answer and Mystique have, but they're like versions for Cure Claire, so I guess they're like blue. But like I said, I genuinely don't know, but it'll be something that'll be interesting for me to follow this whole year because it's what I do in my spare time. I also follow Precure stuff and the toys, merchandise, the episodes, the leaks of future episodes, the staff lists, the just everything. It's very enjoyable. I'm not going to say I recommend it because you have to genuinely know what you're getting yourself into and genuinely enjoy that. But if the idea of watching a like yearly sort of Super Sentai Kamen Rider tokusatsu kind of toy show for children sounds fun and it's also animated, you know what? You can why don't you join me on the Pretty Cure train? It's all up to you. Everyone has their own hobbies and this is just one of mine, even if it might seem kind of random compared to everything else that's on my channel. Anyway, I hope you guys all have a great day and I'll see you next time.